I have been working on cruise ships for more than 10 years, and recently I made a decision that shocked my family, friends, and colleagues when I decided to leave my job on cruise ships and settle back home in Zimbabwe in the rural areas. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Let's take a walk with me while I tell you my story of settling back in Zimbabwe after working on cruise ships. Today, I want to answer a very, very important question that a lot of you have been asking me as we take this walk at the back of my yard. And that question is, why leave cruise ships in the first place? So we are now carrying on with my story, moving on to part 2. For those that are new to this channel, this is part 2 of my story. There is a part 1. So there's different parts of this story. So make sure that you keep following them as they are so that you really understand the story. So today I want to answer a very important question that a lot of people have been asking me, including my family. Why did you leave cruise ships in the first place? Why did you leave your job? Currently, cruise ships are the place to be. Everybody wants to go and work on cruise ships. Everybody is going into hospitality. Reason being, I want to go and work on cruise ships. So why would you leave that job where people think you earn good money, you travel the world? It's a very, very luxurious lifestyle. You choose to come and live in Zimbabwe, in the rural areas where you are chasing goats and cows and it's dusty, you get burnt by the sun. Why? Today I want to answer that question before I even get into detail about my life back in Zimbabwe. I think that question is a question that a lot of you that watched part 1 are asking yourselves, like, but why? Why? So let me jump into it. Why did I leave cruise ships? I have a lot of reasons, but today I'll just mention the few which I feel are very, very important. I started working on cruise ships in 2011, and I started off in the spa as a nail technician. When you are looking at doing nails on land, you make money with the treatment on its own. Doing nails, that's how you make your money. But when you get on cruise ships, it's a completely different story. So I will say, number 1, I got messed up mentally when I worked on cruise ships. My expectations were not what I found there. So when I got there, a lot happened. My first contract was the worst of them all, I believe. I wanted to quit that very same day, actually, but because I had spent my money to go there, I had spent my money paying for flights, I had spent my money paying for trainings and everything. So when it comes to the spa, back then, I don't know now, I haven't really done my research. Back then, you had to pay for everything yourself. You pay for your own flights, you pay for your hotel, you pay for your medicals, you pay for your training. So in total, I spent about 30,000 rand. I had to hustle to make that 30,000 rand for me to actually land myself on that ship. And back then there was not a lot of scams as well, because it had been in cruise ships were there, but they were not known the way they are known now. The only thing that was a bit scary at that time was human trafficking. That was quite popular back then. But me, I'm a risk taker. So I said, hey, I'm going. I did my research very, very well. I used to spend hours in the internet cafe researching. So I knew my facts that, okay, I'm safe. So I spent my 30,000 rand. And I was hoping to make that 30,000 rand when I get on board immediately, as it was, being said. So when I got there, my first day on board, my roommate, when she walked in the room, she greeted me, she introduced herself. The first thing she told me was, how much did they say you are going to earn? And when I told her, she laughed and she was like, ha, it's a lie. And I was like, huh? She was like, it's a lie. So I said, okay. So at first I couldn't really believe it. I was like, you know what? I need to actually see this for myself, because people were saying that you earn about 3,000 US dollars as a nail technician. So I'd said, you know what? Let me do this on my own and see if it is true or not. Let me not believe this girl. Let me have my own experience. So yeah, she was very, very right. She was very, very right. I thought I was going to make 3,000 US dollars just doing people's nails. That's not the case. Most of your money comes from selling products. You have to sell products. And by selling products, I'm not talking about taking products, putting them on a counter and standing there. No, you have to convince people to buy. At the same time, you cannot convince them too much because they will complain that you are being pushy and you will get into trouble with the company. So now you get confused because in order for you to convince someone, you have to push them to buy a product. So how can I now convince someone without being pushy? Selling is not a technique that you just get overnight. Selling is a skill that you build with time. And if you have a limited time and you are under pressure, that skill doesn't just come by. You struggle. I struggled at least for maybe 3 months to actually get my selling skills to actually make sense. If you book your column at the end of the cruise, you were fully booked, your guests were happy, you're saying, oh, she was so good, I had a good massage, I had a good facial. When I'm talking about sales also, I'm not saying only nail technicians are supposed to sell. I'm saying everybody that works in the spa has to sell. Might it be beauty therapist, might it be a massage therapist, might it be an acupuncturist, might it be a barber, might it be a hairstylist. You need to sell products. You need to make money by selling products. Imagine being a hairstylist, you need to make sure that when that person walks out of there, they have a hair mousse, they have a hair mask, they have a shampoo. Even though they have their own shampoo and hair mousses that they are using at home, they need to walk away with something. Otherwise, you get into big, big trouble. So as much as you want to be happy in such an environment, it starts becoming a little bit stressful because every single day there's meetings that are being conducted where you are being asked why you are not performing, why is your revenue low. At the end of every cruise as well, there's meetings also where your manager literally grills you about why are you not selling, why is your revenue low, blah blah blah. And also there's time where head office comes on board, and those are the most feared people. Those are the most feared people. When you hear that the head office is coming on board, people shake because those people can either get you out of that ship and put you in the worst of the worst of the worst ships. Another thing, not all these ships make money. You find people saying, I'm going to go on ships to make money, depending on your department. If you are in a department that has anything to do with sales, departments such as photography, shops, spa, even let's say bartenders, maybe even let me say waiters, because you depend on tips there. Not all cruise ships make money. Let me give you an example. If you're looking at big ships like these Royal Caribbean ships that carry about 6,000 people, right? You might make money there because there's a lot of people. That's number one. Number two, you have to look at the itinerary of the ship. Where is the ship going? There are some itineraries that don't make money because of the type of people that come for those type of itineraries. For instance, let's look at ships that are going to Alaska. Alaska is very expensive, so it means the people that are coming there would have paid a lot of money. Sometimes you do make money because those people already make money. Sometimes you won't make money because if someone has spent a lot of money on a cruise, they won't have extra money to spend on buying products, on buying drinks. They just want to go to Alaska and come back. They don't want to spend anything. So there's a whole lot of things that determine you making money. If you're being put on a ship that carries only old people, you're not going to make money. Old people don't want to spend money in the spa. Old people don't drink. Old people don't want to take photos. If you're going to be put on a cruise ship that has children, right? Yes, you are going to make money with family photos if you're a photographer. No, you're not going to make money in the bar because most of those people just want to go and sleep. Yeah, sometimes some parents will be like, you know what? Put the kids in the kids club, let's go and drink. You might not make money in the spa because those parents are running to go and be with their children. Or you get put on a ship. There are some countries, some nationalities as well that don't want to spend money. There are some nationalities that don't believe in tipping as well. If you look at nationalities like Australians, Germans, they don't believe in tipping those people. So if you are someone who is in a department that depends on tips, you're not going to get anything there. But if you are with nationalities such as Americans, they believe in tipping, so you make money there. Americans also like to buy, so you are going to probably have a bit of selling there as well. So there's a whole lot of things that determine all those things. But if you don't know, you think a cruise ship is a cruise ship, I'm just going to make money. That is not the case. So all those things start piling up in your head when you are in there, and you are like, oh, damn. I wish I knew. But once you are in there, you spend all your life savings to be in there. You cannot just walk away. You have to endure. You have to endure. So I had to endure. I had to endure, and that was a nightmare. Working hours were long. We were working from 8 in the spa, 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 or 9 in the evening, with the 2 hours break, 1 hour break lunch, 1 hour break dinner. So a lot of people sometimes end up getting problems with their wrists. They get what I think it's called carpal tunnel, a problem with your wrists because of too many massages in a day. You find you're having 10, 12 massages in a day. Too many pedicures as well. That's another thing that started affecting me with time. I started getting problems with my wrists. I started getting problems with my back because the chairs that we were sitting on were not very comfortable. So mentally was number I would say that was the least of my problems. Then followed by physically I started getting really tired. There's nothing more painful than sitting on a chair from morning all the way till evening, and also on top of that your mind is constantly at work because you want to sell. You need to get a sell today. You need to make at least $50, something today, so that you don't get trouble with your manager. Sometimes also, if you are not selling, you are not given off days. You're only given a half a day. And then for those that are performing in sales, they're given full days. So your mind is always at work. Your body is always at work. So you end up getting very tired. So that's why I left the spa, and I thought maybe let me move to the reception. That's when I changed companies and I started working at the reception. That is when it even got worse physically there, because you are standing from 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning till about 10 or 11 o'clock in the evening. Of course, you are going to get 2 or 3 hours in between breaks, but still, my back started getting a little bit worse. My hips, I'm not going to say. My hips were the worst for me because of the standing. But anyway, I kept on going back because the money is very addictive. Money is very addictive. And when you are going through such things where you are not happy in a place, you always tend to find things that make you happy. And for me, my happiness was in shopping. So I used to spend money a lot in shopping. Whether I'm at work, whether I'm home on holiday, I'll be in South Africa just spending my money buying clothes, which I ended up just giving away. That's where I actually got everything wrong. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because I want people to learn from my mistakes. People that want to go on cruise ships, this is your chance to actually learn from my mistakes and find ways to work around where I went wrong. And also for people who want to come home to actually see that there is hope. There is hope. If you are enduring in wherever you are, whether you are in a ship, whether you are in South Africa, you are enduring there, you can endure at home as well. So I endured there. I endured for 10 years, meaning that I can probably even endure another 10 years here in Zimbabwe. So after the whole physical thing, I'm going to move to the next one, which was the sharing of the cabins. I grew up alone. I didn't grow up. I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I never really shared my space. But when you're working on cruise ships, you share this tiny little cabin with someone. That I couldn't. From day one. I hated sharing cabins because you meet people with different backgrounds, different cultures. What they feel is right is wrong to you. What I think is right is wrong to them. So there's always a bit of clashing. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys that I was the best roommate in the world and they were the worst. No, there's probably someone out there who was saying I was the worst roommate. And with women, we are so moody, and you are stuck with that person for maybe 3, 4, 5 months or more. So a lot really, really happens. And as I grew older, it got even worse. I think as you grow older, we always wonder why old people are grumpy. As you grow older, you value a lot of things. And yes, you will be grumpy if you're tired, if you're mentally tired, if you're hungry, if you are just, things are just not working out for you, you will definitely be grumpy. So I was one of those grumpies. So I wasn't really enjoying sharing my cabin. I never had my own space. There was always someone in the room, always somebody making noise, calls going through, the time difference. Sometimes somebody will be calling home in the middle of the night because maybe at home it's during the day. They cannot walk. Cannot get out of bed and start walking. They cannot get out of bed and start walking around the ship. They feel comfortable in the bed. Sometimes it's just being considerate. Some people are just very inconsiderate. So somebody will just start talking there while you're trying to sleep. And sometimes maybe you are sleeping because you are starting early, they are starting late. So when you have to go home, they are still sleeping. I mean, when you have to go to work, they are still sleeping. So it's all about just that consideration for other people. There are some people who just don't care. So that also on its own took its toll on me. And also on cruise ships, as I said in the beginning, there's a whole lot of things that happen. There's a lot of discrimination that nobody talks about. There's a whole lot of racism that nobody talks about. There's a whole lot of bullying that nobody talks about. They always come to us and say, if you see something, say something. A lot of crew members are scared to say anything because you lose your job. And everybody values that job because nobody's ever ready to really come home and face the reality of home. You rather come home with money. Everything feels so good when you have money till you run out and you actually see, the horrors of being at home. So everybody fears that. It doesn't matter the nationality, whether it's a Zimbabwean or it's a South African or it's a Filipino or it's an Indian. We all have that fear of going home. No one is ready. So nobody wants to go home. People are so addicted to that money, and we always feel that you cannot get that money anywhere, which is true. So nobody says anything. No one says anything. People are going through a lot in there. There is a lot that is happening, and you cannot say a damn thing to anybody. Being bullied by management, you cannot say anything. You cannot go to your manager and say, listen, I am not feeling well. My hips are paining. They'll tell you go to the medical center, and before you know it, they'll say you're not physically fit to be on board anymore, and you get sent home. I can go to my manager and say, I don't want to stay with my roommate. She's very noisy. I cannot sleep. They'll say, but when you signed your contract, you said that you are willing to share a cabin with someone. What is this? Everything that you feel is not right, you cannot say because it shows you are weak. So people just bottle things in and just keep going like that. People get abused in cabins. You find that some people are, I think I did a video about this where I was mentioning that people will bring men in the room and do things in the room while you are still there. That's not healthy. And then you just have to get up and go and act like nothing is happening. I faced it several times, till I started speaking out about it, and I was told that you have to report to HR. It's not allowed to just bring somebody in the room. It must be something that you and your roommate communicate and accept that, okay, I have a boyfriend. Can I bring him to the room? Are you comfortable? You cannot just bring a man in the room. It's also my room. It's also your room. So all those things I didn't know, but I had to brave up and say something about it. But other people are not. You find somebody cannot sleep. People are dozing off at work because, some people were doing their thing the entire night with you there. So there is a whole lot of things that happen there that a lot of people don't talk about because you are scared you're going to lose your job. If you look at social media right now, not a lot of crew members are talking about all these things that I'm sharing while they are still on board. Majority of us talk about it when we are out, like completely out, because there's a lot of threatening that happens there. We are told that there is a social media team that constantly checks social media for all employees. So if they happen to find a video of you talking about the company, you lose your job. So people talk about the good things. They post about being in Barcelona or Australia or New York. Nobody really comes and sits down and say, this is actually what is really happening here. Even if they post the food, they'll probably wait for a day where there is like a crew party or something. Maybe you've reached your revenue and they have, given you better food for that day. That's when you find people are posting about it. If you look at things like these parties that people have in the crew bar and all that stuff, and you think, oh, people are living a good life. No, they are not. So those are the things that eventually they take its toll on you as a person, and you're like, you know what, I'd rather go home and be chasing goats and cows than to actually face this. So as I went up the ranks and I became a reception manager, also it meant a lot of responsibilities for me. Now I didn't only have people to manage, guests also had high expectations coming from me as a manager. So they wanted me to make the impossible possible. If somebody comes and complains that why is the ship rocking, why is it windy, why is it cloudy, why is it raining, but when I booked my cruise it was supposed to be sunny, what am I supposed to do? I don't control the weather. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So, but unfortunately, I cannot say that. I have to apologize as if it's my fault that the weather is cloudy or it's raining or the ocean is rough. I'm supposed to say I'm sorry. So eventually, I just couldn't say it, and I struggled to say I'm sorry. It got to a point where you go into a private room and literally scream in there because you are so frustrated and you cannot express it to that person. You cannot. I used to get complaints about the internet. Right, there's a company that I worked for, and I had been there for a very long time. And for all those years that I've been there, the internet has always been horrible. And people are paying a lot of money for that particular internet. Whether might it be crew, might it be guests, they were paying a lot of money for it. So I got to be the lady behind the internet that people were coming to complain about the internet too. And at the beginning, I used to lie and say, no, the company is actually working on it. But I forgot that these people are repeat, these are guests for cruise ships. These companies are making money from repeat guests. People keep coming back. So you find that somebody will cruise today, they've already booked 5 more cruises till 2050. Whether they die along the way, it doesn't matter. They've booked the cruises till then. So even if you lie to them now, they are going to come back again in 3 months and find the same problem. But you lied and say they are fixing it. So in the end, I just ended up telling them the truth. Like, listen, man, they are not bothered about this internet. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. So it's up to you. It's maybe time for you to just buy a SIM card that can work at sea, and you use that than this internet. And most of the people used to appreciate my honesty. But if the company ever found out that that is what I was saying, I was going to lose my job. So I hated that about me, that I had reached a point where I just didn't care anymore, which was not fair for the guests because they are paying a lot of money to come and sail, right? Some people are spending years saving money for those cruises, and then they find me upset there, and it's not about them, it's about me. Why am I upset? So in the end, I just decided, you know what, let me leave because this is not healthy, it's not fair for other people. So that was another reason why I left. Then came the food. The food was just not good at all. The food was just not doing it for me anymore. There are times that a lot of people sleep hungry. Our only resolution to this problem is basically to just wait for airport day, go ashore and buy yourself food. buy yourself snacks. If you're in a cruise line that allows you to come back with food, you come back with Burger King, you come back with chicken in, you not chicken in, Jesus. You come back with KFC, you come back with McDonald's. At least for a couple of days, that's what you're going to be eating. So as much as people say you don't pay for accommodation, you don't pay for food, I disagree. I disagree because the food there will make you spend money on food. You spend a lot of money on food. The internet will make you spend a lot of money on internet as well because you need to communicate with your family. It's not free. It is not free. I don't know, with the new ships, maybe it's free there, but where I'm coming from, internet was never free. If it's free, it's slow, which means you need to pay a little bit to actually get a package where the internet is faster. So the food, I just couldn't take it anymore. The food made me leave because I love my food. I hate being hungry, and majority of the time I was always hungry. Funny enough, you do gain weight. Maybe it's because of the fact that the food is it was not really healthy. The food that we were eating was not organic. So somehow you find that you are gaining weight. So, but in reality, people are starving on cruise ships. That is true. And then number one, for me, the main reason was loneliness. As much as I was earning all this money, I was so lonely. I felt so empty inside. I felt really, really empty. You would go there, you will come back, you will find that people at home are doing so much better. My friends at home were getting married. People were building homes. People were living so much better life than I was on a cruise ship. Someone who's earning $200, $300 as a teacher has built a beautiful house. They are driving a nice car. They have an iPhone. They have an iPad. Things which I thought were expensive and I could only afford it because I was out there. But someone in Zimbabwe was doing it. So it made me feel so worthless. Like, why am I there if someone who is at home is making it like this? They are working till Friday, weekends they are off. They are working till 5. They have time with their family. They have time for relationships, which I never had. When you're working on cruise ships, it's very hard to actually make a relationship work. Might it be on board? Might it be on land? You find someone on land, they cannot wait for you for 9 months. You find someone on board, they are married. We always used to say that on board you can become anything you like. You can go on board and tell people that you are the Queen of England. You can go on board and tell people that you are the daughter of the president of Zimbabwe, and they'll believe you because nobody knows you. They cannot track you. So you can be anything you like. So somebody can come on board, remove their ring, and be single. And that is one of the main things that is happening on board. So you find that relationships never work. They just never work. So that for me was, I got to a point where I needed a partner to share my life with. I got to a point where I started getting scared of being alone, growing old alone. And what do I have to prove for it? That I was working abroad, So I just needed to settle down. So I eventually met someone and I decided that it's time for me to just stop it. I've seen the world, I've traveled, I've earned good money, I've shopped, I have partied, I've done it all. So let me settle down and focus on my family. A family which I never had because I never had a father. I only grew up with my mom. So I wanted a different life for my children, to have both parents together. So that was the main reason why I left cruise ships. So I feel like today I actually answered that question for you people that have been asking me. Even my family themselves, they are not understanding it. Why? I guess now you know. So thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Our next video is going to be very, very interesting because we have hit a dry season now that winter is gone past us. Now we are heading towards a dry season. When you hit September, October, before the rains, everything changes. So in terms of water, the water somehow goes down. So all our wells are literally drying up on us. So we have just heard that there's a bank that is offering loans for farmers. So we are going to be approaching that bank for a loan. Let's see if we are going to succeed or not. So those are the things that I want you guys to follow our journey. What is it that we are doing? Is it going to be a success? Is it not going to be a success? Are we ever going to, end up going back on cruise ships or not? So thank you so much again for tuning in, guys, and I look forward to seeing you again on my next video.